Coach Roose, thank you so much for your time. Really looking forward to chatting with you. I know it's been a little bit of a difficulty kind of matching up our schedules, so thankful that we could finally, get connected. For the listeners at home, will you tell us a little bit about your background, your motivation, and kind of where you are currently?
For sure. First of all, one, I really appreciate you having me on. This is great. I really enjoy listening to these on my ride. I've got a little commute here in Austin, Texas, and so I do like this part too. I like to hear about people's journey. I'm gonna keep mine short because we can probably go an hour on that. But
Okay.
I'm not gonna do that, but I will. We'll go over with the Cliff Notes version here.
All right.
When I got out of college at Appalachian State, by the way.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm an App State grad.
Let's go. Go Nears.
Yeah, right. And so when I got out, I had a physical education degree, and all I really knew what I wanted to do was coach and teach, because I figured out about 12 years old that's what I was going to do.
Okay.
And so I got a job in Central North Carolina. I was teaching elementary school physical education, and I was coaching at the high school down the street.
Okay.
And I had a great group of mentors there, including probably my main one. It's a guy named Cecil Mock. None of you guys listen to this have ever heard of him.
Okay.
But he's was an unbelievable high school strength and conditioning coach. And he's an assistant principal now.
Okay.
But just an unbelievable influence. And I saw the way, that not only he trained these guys physically, but mentally, emotionally, the time spent, things like that, and what a difference it made. It really made a difference in how I looked at things. And, a group of guys there were like, well, you're young, you should go out and get your master's degree paid for, before you have a family and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, I don't want to go back to school. But I did. I got a job as an assistant strength coach at Campbell University.
Okay.
And assistant strength coach is a strong word because I was just like a paid intern.
Okay.
And by paid, I mean not very much.
Yeah.
I don't even think there was pay.
Okay.
And I was there for about 6 months. And midway through that year, the guy I was working for was a guy named Scott Kirchman. He was very passionate, and he took a new job. And Campbell, being a small school, they didn't have football at the time, and they didn't really want to pay anybody for the rest of the fiscal year. And so they're just like, you got it.
Yeah.
And so I'm 6 months into that, and I'm a Division I head strength coach
Wow.
on an interim level, and no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely no clue. But I did like being around the kids. The kids liked being in the weight room when I was there, and so there was something fun to that. I kind of turned that into a graduate assistantship at Marshall University.
Okay.
With John Sanderson.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Who's really amazing. John and I are the same age.
Okay.
Coincidentally, and I believe you had Cameron Davidson on a few
Yeah,
weeks
that's
ago.
what I was just about to say. Yeah. Okay.
We were there together, and if you've read the book Talent Code, it talks about these little hot spots of things going on, and there were 5 GAs and John, all of us very close in age, very beginning of our careers. Again, not really knowing what we were doing, but we were having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
And the learning curve was so great there. Like, it was just such an unbelievable hotbed of learning.
Yeah.
I mean, we're spending 60 hours a week in the weight room with no pay,
Yeah.
Going to grad classes at night.
Yeah.
My graduate advisor in one of my first classes was Dr. Jeff Chandler, and I had no idea who that was when I walked in the class.
Yeah.
Turned out he was the editor of the NSCA Journal.
Oh, wow. Okay.
One of my first projects was to do a position paper on the back squat, and so I start researching this, and he's written all of it, and so I'm like, well, I can't BS this anymore, so I'm gonna have to learn. And it was just an unbelievable coincidence of people and timing and things.
That's
there.
crazy.
And Marshall, they really let the GAs run the department in a lot of ways. And so then after a year and a half, finished my master's, John got the job at Clemson University as the basketball strength coach, and I took over for him at Marshall. And that was a great experience. However, there were a lot of people in the department at the time that were only going to look at me as a GA, because that's what I was. And so after a year there, the head basketball coach got fired, and I was the director of strength for Olympic sports.
Yeah.
So my job was safe, but at the same time, a new basketball coach was coming in, and so I'd put out some feelers, and I got a job as the head strength and conditioning coach at UNC Pembroke.
Okay.
It's a Division II school in southeastern North Carolina.
Yeah.
They were just starting football. My wife and I just had our first child. Both sets of grandparents lived, within an hour or two there. So it seemed like a good thing to do. And,
Yeah.
I had people tell me like, well, once you go to Division II, you might not make it back to Division I.
Yeah.
I've never been one to really care about that too much. I just thought I'm going to just go make this the best I can.
Exactly.
And we'll see what the facilities look like. And
Yeah.
I got down there, and they had a brand new weight room for football. They had a weight room they let me build for the rest of the athletes. I had no help. I had 16 sports by myself.
Oh, man.
I was teaching kinesiology
Okay.
in their exercise science department, which I had no idea how to do when I got there, and I was a little bit scared of that.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be really, really a huge blessing in that it made me get better. It made me better as a coach.
Okay.
To teach the science of human movement.
Yeah.
And have to be an expert on that. And so that was really valuable. I was there for 2 years, and it was a great time.
Yeah.
It was really, really something. They let me hire a GA.
Okay.
Because we had these 2 weight rooms and all these sports, and
Yeah.
we had a lot of success. And youngest football team to ever make the Division II playoffs. It was just a blast.
Wow. Okay.
And the thing is, it's not the best place to raise a family, which we had a young family at the time.
Okay.
And about that time, Coach Smart, my boss now, was hired at VCU as the head basketball coach.
Okay.
And, I knew a few guys that had worked with him from Clemson, John, namely, and the director of ops. And they had me up on an interview, and I said, well, if it feels right, then, I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
I sat down with one of the assistant AD, and he said, your job is 98.5% men's basketball, 1.5% tennis.
Okay.
I said, seriously? He said, yeah. Seriously. I said, oh, all right, sounds good.
Yeah.
And, and so I went from training 16 sports to mainly training 1.
Yeah.
I did hire a bunch of GAs there, and
Okay.
they would train the tennis teams, and we had our own facility for men's basketball, and they really treated it like a high major there.
Okay.
And that we were chartering flights, and then we went to the Final Four, and so it was a whirlwind, but it's a lot of fun. It's a great experience. And so after being there for 6 years, we made the move down here to Austin, Texas.
Okay.
And so this is the start of year 5.
Okay.
Actually, I'm really excited because summer training starts tomorrow.
Let's go. Okay.
It's almost here.
Yeah.
I've been hitting the guys up. They've been off for about 2.5, 3 weeks right now, and that's a little too long for me. So that's where we are, and that's where we're going to be.
That's awesome. I love hearing people's stories because it's crazy to hear, sometimes you end up at a place like you said for like 6 years. Sometimes you're there for like a year and some change. Sometimes you're there for like 6 months, and then it's just crazy to see the progression and where it kind of ends up, And then some people get so locked into like sticking at one spot because they're like afraid to either apply or to step out and move. And so just being able to hear that is like, it's like inspiring, That sounds cliche, but, and then even the D2 thing, moving down a level, that's, you still hear that a ton of like, oh, if you move to this level, you're trapped for good, right? But that's just a testament to one, your ability to do the job, and 2, your ability to network and create a presence for yourself. So that's awesome to hear. So let's talk a little bit about training, right? Things coming up. So what does kind of your annual plan kind of look like for men's basketball?
Annual plan, and that's an interesting one with the rule changes in basketball and things that go on with that.
Yeah.
We're on a 4-and-4 approach in the summer, which for those of you that aren't involved in basketball, that means that I used to have 8 hours a week in the summer. Then it was 6. Now it's 4.
Yeah.
And so that other 4 is now on the court. And so it's really, really, basketball has become year-round sport
Yeah.
in that the coaches can actually have practice year-round.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And so it's walking that line
Mhm.
between how much is too much and is more always better and,
Yeah.
and things like that. And really what it comes down to for me is what are my big rocks at this time of year? What are my big rocks? In June and July, that's really our only window to really get strong. Bottom line, simple. It's simplicity.
Yeah.
We want our big rocks, and we want to hit them in June and July.
Okay.
From there, the guys will have a week off at the end of summer, and then we'll come back and we'll fully be in preseason mode because we'll have about 5 weeks.
Okay.
Before the start of practice, and in that session, that microcycle, we call that body armor.
Okay.
So our goal in body armor is to prepare those guys for the rigors of being on the court for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to prepare our guys for practice.
Yeah.
Because practice is where we're going to get better at the sport of basketball, which is what they're here to do. Not here to make them weightlifters. I'm not chasing numbers or anything like that. They have to be able to A, survive a 3-hour practice, and B, hopefully thrive.
Yeah.
And like I tell my boss all the time, I said, look, there's no way to mimic going from 8 hours a week in the off season to 20 hours a week in season.
Yeah.
That October, while it is a time for overreaching, if we start practice, we do have to be careful and really monitor how we do that.
Yeah.
So we're not throwing everything at the wall in week 1, and then we can't walk in week 2, and we're getting about half the workload that we got in week 1.
Yeah.
So that's something we look at. From there, in season is our longest consecutive training block you get with these kids.
Yeah.
And I know that's lost sometimes. Due to the schedule, the amount of time those kids spend, whether it be traveling, playing, class, study hall, because we do play a sport that spans both semesters, which is challenging.
Okay.
And so, but however, that is a 16 to 20 some week training block for a guy. And if you're in the situation like I am, where you train one team, you have to look at it that way.
Yeah.
You have to look at it that way. You have to continue to try to make gains where you can, and that's relative.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like what our June and July, gains are going to look like. But at the same time, we have to use that training block, and being creative with schedules sometimes, and having to be flexible. Where sometimes if you've got a plan and then things don't quite work out like you thought they did, and you've got to be flexible during that time.
Yeah.
And so this past year we had literally a 7-month in season.
Oh wow.
We played until April the 4th, April the 5th.
Okay.
And not in the tournament we wanted to be in, but in the other one. But still, that makes for a long season.
Yeah.
And so then, after that, the guys have the mandatory 7 days off. And then we go into what we call our get healthy cycle.
Okay.
And from there, it is how to get these guys moving.
Yeah.
Where they're feeling good, and so we can hit tomorrow, which is June the 4th, June 5th tomorrow when we start.
Yeah.
We want everyone healthy and ready to go.
Yeah.
And so that's what that approach is about at the end of this.
No, I like that. I mean, like you said, that's a lot of miles on the body, right? 7 months of being on the hardwood, that can take a toll, and especially on some knees, ankles, hips, low backs, things like that. So I think that's a great approach and kind of a great structure. And so kind of diving into that a little bit more, what does like a sample kind of microcycle look like, say, in that in-season period and also in that off-season period?
Yep. Let's start with the off-season, because that's going to be a little more apropos to what we're talking about. The in-season is going to look different for a lot of kids based on where they are.
Yeah.
But the off-season, like I said, we're going to use June to get these kids as big and strong as we can. I mean, it's our only shot.
Yeah.
It really is. I'd love to sit here and give you some real scientific, hardcore hitting stuff, and we're going to do some ridiculous stuff, but we're not.
Yeah.
We're going to come in here and we're going to try to do as many beautiful reps as we can in June, and we're going to be tired and we're going to be sore, but that's okay at this time of year.
Yeah.
That's okay. And I do have my head coach in a place where he understands that that's what June is about. and so his demands on the court will match what I'm doing, so that we're not fighting against each other for the gains that we're looking for and things like that. And it's simple because a good buddy of mine, Ryan Horn, I believe you've had on too.
Yeah.
He's on every podcast ever
right.
in the world, so I'm going to get it confused if he said it on this one or not.
Yeah.
But man, our kids are they're over specialized, undertrained, and underfed.
Yeah.
So we get them, and like they're going to make gains in the summertime because we're going to feed them and we're going to train them.
It's amazing what food can do, right?
It's amazing what happens when you get these kids here and we start to talk about eating and we start providing them with these meals and things like that, and them understanding the importance of that and starting to understand the importance of sleep and things like that.
My gosh.
That's where we get these gains from. I mean, like being a college strength coach, I can't imagine an easier job to show gains.
Yeah.
Because these kids are 18 years old. They've got more growth hormone and testosterone going through their body than any times in their life.
Yeah.
And we could take them outside and do push-ups and sit-ups, and they'd probably get better.
You're right, yeah.
In reality, we really could. We really could. And so, that's altered my approach. I mean, the main thing that's altered my approach in the summer is the new rules of 4 and 4.
Okay.
And having to use every minute of that time.
Yeah.
To try to get us bigger and stronger, because that's not what it's been in the past. I've had more time, to do some different things with guys in the summer. We've taken guys, we do some hot yoga sometimes.
Okay.
We've gone to boxing.
Yeah.
We've when I was in Richmond, there's a former Navy SEAL that worked out with us and did some really cool stuff. But I just don't have that time anymore to do that. So that falls into the category of extra things to break up the monotony of training in some ways. And I do like doing some of those things in any case sometimes if we can, because I like to get my kids off campus. Because sometimes we live in a bubble.
Oh, my gosh.
We're in our own little bubble here, and it's interactions with other human beings are so important.
Yeah.
And I love to see my guys in a hot yoga class where they don't look like the other people do.
Yeah.
And they don't talk like the other people do. And so their interactions and them learning from some of the older guys how we do that. And I think that's really important. So any chance I can get to do something like that.
Yeah.
Because life's about experiences.
Oh my gosh.
That's how we grow as human beings. That's how we grow as a team. And we can sit here and talk all we want about culture and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We can slap words on walls and T-shirts, but man, it's the experiences that you have with your brothers and your coaches and things like that are going to shape that culture day in, day out. Yeah. And so, I look at it as I'm going to be a consistent model of high energy for that, for whatever we're doing. We're going to have a high energy about us, and there's probably going to be some fun to it too.
Yeah.
After you've earned that.
Yeah.
There's a certain level of earning things that my freshmen are going to experience starting tomorrow.
Yeah, let's go. Come on.
They're not going to see me smile very much like they do with the older guys.
Yeah.
But as the older guys earn those things, and those experiences, then that's what we're going to take from this. That's in July, I'm one of my former players here from last year gets married here.
Oh, wow.
And a bunch of the guys from his team are in the wedding. I'm so excited about it because that's really what this is all about.
Yeah.
Or those experiences and just seeing those guys develop those relationships and then understand that as they finish, sorry to get off topic here. I think we're talking about training cycles, but the reality is this is about life.
Exactly.
This is about moving these guys forward in life, which is one of my coach's favorite sayings.
Yeah.
And so the weight room is such a microcosm for that.
Exactly.
That weight on the bars doesn't lie. It's the same every day.
And that's important to realize, A lot of people don't look at it like that.
It's the same. That weight on the bar doesn't change. That is what it is. And so every day you got to come in here and you're either going to attack it or you're going to shy away from it.
Yeah.
You're going to shut it down or you're going to go in your own little shell or you're going to get out of that and you're going to help somebody else get better.
Yeah.
Or, you're going to live with someone else
Yeah.
in how they're feeling, you know, and help them through it than just shut it down. And because this is a team sport we play.
Yeah.
I don't coach track and field.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't coach golf.
Yeah.
Great sports, but like those are individual sports.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a lot
the
different.
most part.
A lot different.
You know, we rely on each other.
Exactly.
We rely on each other as a team and what each of us brings. And
Yeah.
so that to me, that's what the summer, that's what the off season's about.
Okay.
You know, and you know, we could talk about things that we do in the weight room
Yeah.
to, you know, like that where they rely on each other and,
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I know there's a big debate in our field right now about mental toughness and
Yeah.
teaching mental toughness and training mental toughness. Well,
Mhm.
you know, like, do I believe you can train mental toughness? Sure you can.
Yeah.
But not by a drill.
Yeah.
It's showing up every day
Mm-hmm.
with one another and going through those little battles that,
Yeah.
that equal that year-long war that you go through.
Yeah.
You know, it's a long season, and we're going to have ups and downs. And,
Yeah.
and that's where that mental, you know, toughness, I guess,
Encountering-
for lack of a word,
Yeah.
comes from.
Yeah,
You know,
encountering something
you
difficult.
rely on each other.
Exactly. They're going to encounter difficult things, and so if they are not exposed to things where they have to rely on each other, that it's going to be a novelty to them, right? And that's not what you want within a game. So, yeah. Most definitely.
You know, we can't, like, I am the ultimate generalist
Yeah.
when it comes to training.
Mhm.
Number one, I believe the sport that I train
Yeah.
is very general to
Yeah.
begin with. There's no planned starts and stops.
Yeah.
You know, you might be on one leg, you might be on two. You know, you might be grabbing a ball with 2 hands, you might be grabbing a ball with one.
Yeah.
You're going to be rotational. All these different things go on.
Mhm.
Energy system wise, you're going to be all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, basketball is looked at as a power and performance sport because we see highlights on ESPN of guys jumping really high and
Yeah.
dunking like that. You know, however, the ability to repeat those explosive bouts
Yeah.
over and over is what adds up to a team win, which
Yeah.
is the ultimate goal that we're after.
Mhm.
You know, so like I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. I don't even know what the question is, but that's
Yeah.
it goes back to being general
Yeah.
with how we train these guys.
Yeah.
Because they've never been trained before.
Yeah.
They really never have.
Yeah.
You know, when they come in on recruiting visits and you ask them about things, and well, I got a workout guy. Well,
Yeah.
the workout guy, good. I'm glad you're working on your step back jumper because
Yeah.
that's a skill.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's a little bit different. No, and those are all relevant points, right? So I think it's really important to touch on that. Again, the off season, there's only so many exercises that you can do, right? So yeah, you can talk about squats and things, but I think it's more important to see that structure, right?
Sure.
But bringing it back a little bit, right? What does that kind of look like in season, and how does that kind of change?
Sure. In season, we have gone to. I'm gonna really bastardize this.
Okay.
Bastardized by a lot of guys.
Yeah.
But we do a form of microdosing.
Okay.
And so, you know, what that means to me might mean something different to somebody else.
Yeah.
But what it means is we're going to train almost every day.
Mhm.
And, you know, we're lucky to be in a situation where our weight room is, you know, a flight of steps from our practice court. So,
yeah.
you know, we can spend, instead of me doing a garbage 5-minute warm up on the court,
Yeah.
you know, I'd rather have 15 to 20 minutes in the weight room
Yeah.
with them. And, you know, in that time, you know, we're gonna have a primal movement warm up where we run, crouch, crawl, roll, climb, carry, and throw every day.
Okay.
And by the end season, we're gonna spend 6 minutes on that.
Yeah.
You know, max, because that's ingrained in what we do, and that's also how we warm up in the off season. So we're gonna run, crouch, crawl, climb, carry, and throw, all primal movements. And in the off season, we'll add a jump in there too. We don't jump in the end season.
Okay.
And so from there, 6 minutes. From there, we're going to spend about 3 or 4 minutes on some kind of movement complex. And that's stolen from Corey Schlesinger and from other guys like that that are friends of mine that we talk a lot about. And Corey's big into, you know, dumbbell, barbell complexes. I'm big into movement complexes. I'm real big into, you know, use it or lose it.
Yeah.
You know, so we want to move. We want to move in all 3 planes of motion and things like that. You know, and from there we'll have one primary movement of the day.
Okay.
You know, and depending on where it falls in the week.
Yeah.
Further out from competition, we'll do our big bang movements. We'll have a front squat or a safety bar back squat,
Yeah.
or a trap bar deadlift or something like that. Closer we get to competition, we'll move it more to an upper body thing.
Okay.
Even day of, day before, we'll go to like a 1 dumbbell snatch, something quick, snappy, move it fast, get on the court, let's go.
Yeah.
And so that's what our in season looks like, and it ends up being highly individualized.
Yeah.
Based on individual needs, playing time, personality, all those things that go into that.
Yeah.
That make the in season what it is and make the individual what it is. Usually I'll have a red shirt or two, it depends, and we'll spend a ton of extra time training with them. Again, that's the longest consecutive training block you get.
Yeah.
I spend 16 weeks with those guys, and that's incredible growth comes from that. But your high minutes guys, it's just a management game.
Yeah.
It's stress management, it's pain management, and it's personality management.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're looking for, are almost placebo effects sometimes with some of those guys. And how do you feel, especially my older guys? If I get seniors, like when you do this, you feel this way. Yeah. Well, Coach, when I hit a heavy deadlift, man, I feel really good. I feel ready to go fresh. Well, good. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah. Coach, I like auxiliary upper body stuff. Well, let's hit it. Let's go. That's what we're gonna do.
I like that.
So it's highly individualized at that point.
Okay. No, I really like that, and that's largely how it should be, because again, basketball, there's a lot of different needs within that, right? And so kind of keying in a little bit more on, let's say, energy system development, right? So how does that kind of transition from your off season to kind of maintenance or anything in the in season?
Right. That's a topic near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
I've spent about 10 years now researching that and developing a program that I can change for certain guys and individualize.
Okay.
And this all started at VCU real early on. We had a freshman center. He comes in, he weighs about 250 pounds. He's 6'11", 7 foot.
Yeah.
And as with the case with a lot of big guys, especially 7-footers that are recruited at that level, they play basketball because they're tall. Not because they love the game. And this kid had many different interests. A tremendous piano player, very smart, just really spread out. Yeah. That being said, his VO2 max when he got there was about 37.
Oh, okay.
Which is really low.
Yeah.
For those of you, like the highest recorded in history are like some Nordic cross country skiers, 88, 90, something like that.
Yeah.
Lance Strong is around an 80, something.
Yeah.
Just context here. And that number has primarily been associated with endurance athletes, as it should be. However, I started looking at it with this kid and with our style of play, and like he couldn't finish a 30-minute individual workout.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Or small group workout even, and it was dragging things down. And so I, went and found a lab there on campus, got him in there, got him tested on that. I'm like, oh, okay, well, no wonder he can't, because he can't reproduce ATP, because he has no aerobic energy system. It's just never been developed.
Yeah.
It's just underdeveloped. And so, I started playing around with some different protocols and things like that. And I met a guy in Richmond named Mike Craven, whose sole goal at this point in his life was to keep high school football players from dying during running gassers in August. Yeah. It's what happens in high school. The same thing I'm talking about with this kid is you get a big kid that weighs 250 pounds and has never played football before, and they're like, you should come out for football. Yeah. Never done anything in his life but played video games and eating junk food or whatever. Yeah. And he comes out for football, and on August 1st, the first day of practice, they line him up at the end of practice and say, we want you to run these gassers. Yeah. And you've got kids falling out. Yeah. And you've got heat stroke and things like that going on. So this guy is like, no, you don't. That's not how to condition. Yeah. It's not how to develop, this guy's energy system. We need tempo runs and things like that. And so I started working with him some, and I was like, look, I can't take my guys out to a track and run them. I can't. Like, they have a size 18 shoe. Yeah. They're 7 feet tall. They're 250 pounds. Like, we're just going to end up with foot injuries and things like that. Yeah. And so we started messing around, and I ended up talking to Joel Jameson.
Okay.
And Martin Rooney. Oddly, I'm just name dropping like crazy here. But they were like, you got to get a VersaClimber. And I was like, what's a VersaClimber? And he's like, yeah, send it to you. And so we looked it up, and it's like, wow, this is crazy. Like, didn't these things come out in the 70s or something like that, you know? And this is before LeBron popularized it, you know, a few years ago. And so, because at the time I was looking into like these real expensive Kaiser bikes and all that stuff. So nothing challenges the musculature like this does.
No, VersaClimber's tough.
It really puts you in a great position, and it really challenges you way more than any other piece of cardio equipment. So you got one of those. It was great. Ended up getting 3.
Okay.
And ended up building a program that, for lack of better words, they call it an aerobic strength program. Because, you know, what we're going to do is we're going to make that aerobic system a strength rather than a weakness. And so we're going to let that aerobic system provide ATP back to the muscles, you know, whereas before it was just not allowed to do that. And so what we did over a few years was just kind of figure it out. And what I would do is I'd put all my guys in the lab, and we found just anecdotally that if a guy came in and his VO2 max was 55 or over, then he was surviving and thriving in individual workouts in August.
Okay.
If he was between 48 and 55, he wasn't necessarily thriving. You know, but he was able to survive. And if he was under 48, those were the kids that were just not making it through. And therefore not getting better. Because you know, they're in these workouts and they're spending all their time bent over, hands on their knees, can't breathe, things like that. And so we started identifying these low VO2 kids and putting them on this program. And, you know, we would adjust it anywhere from 10 to 15 weeks. 15 weeks is where I currently have it for my red shirts right now as we develop those guys. And it is 2 days a week on the VersaClimber and 1 day a week low intensity, which we use a bike for. And so we call one day an aerobic day. And on that day we are long rounds, 1 minute recovery, and you know, all we're looking for on that on the VersaClimber is we're looking to maintain a heart rate below that lactate threshold. And so we want it within 5 beats. And there's a little anatomical adaptation to that as we get going with the machine. But once they get a feel of that, for those low VO2 kids, that's very challenging. But once they get a feel of that and start to understand that, that's where we see gains. We call the next day an aerobic sprint day, and for that one, we are maxing that heart rate out. We're looking for that max heart rate. We're looking for 97% on that one. And starting with 2 minute rounds, 1 minute off, and we're starting with 8 rounds there. And that's the day where we really want to display gains that we're making. That's the day where we really want to see what we're doing on those other 2 days, because on that other zone 1 day on the bike, you know, that for many of them is the most challenging at all, to hold that heart rate between 120 and 135. You know, starting out at 30 minutes. That one is very challenging for those guys because that aerobic energy system is just so underdeveloped.
You know,
it's never been turned on and challenged like that before, and they're sitting there going, I can't do it. I can't hold it here. Well, this is what we're doing.
This is
why we're doing it, because that heart, that cardiac muscle, it's a muscle just like anything else. And if all you ever do is gassers and wind sprints, then you're going to experience hypertrophy of that left ventricle. You know, whereas with those longer bouts, you know, we want to stretch that out and increase that capacity. You know, be able to pump that blood throughout the body and recover and things like that. You know, and so that's where we see the gains in that. And it's not for everybody. You know, it's really not. There's kids, you know, that come in with a VO2 of 55 or over. Thank you, parents. Thank you, genetics. You know, that are going to be fine in our workouts. You know, they're going to be great. You know, and then others who don't, you know, they do need some development in that area. And so that's something that over 10 years, you know, we've worked on. One of my former assistants, Gabe Durman, who is
at Washington, right?
At Washington, just recently took a new job here. He's the basketball strength coach at UIC in Chicago. And he did his thesis case study for grad school on the program. He'll be happy. He'll be happy if anybody would like to look at it and send it out. would be more than willing to. But it's really, really good. Yeah. So, and again, it's not for every kid. We don't do it team wide and things like that. But it is to bring up some of those lower numbers.
Okay. No, I like that. And then, so in contrast to that, right, what does your speed training kind of look like? Or do you really have that much speed training since you're not reaching top speed? Or what's kind of your take on that?
Yeah, speed training.
Yeah.
I don't know. Never been real big on that.
Okay.
We recruit long, lean athletes.
Yeah.
That can run up and touch the top of the backboard when they get here.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah. So it's not too much of an issue.
So it's not too much of an issue.
Yeah.
I have gotten a little more into it in the past couple of years, and mainly just out of, I try to just continue to learn.
Yeah.
And I've just been lucky enough to be around some people and been able to talk to some people that do that as a specialty. And here in Austin at On It, they have an NFL combine prep crew that comes in every year, and so a couple of those guys we've been down with to hang out with, and so that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
And I've tried to, but that doesn't really fit in my Big Rocks approach.
Okay.
To do that in the hours and time that we have.
Okay, fair enough, right? So then moving into it, so within your training, you talked about doing those primal movement patterns. Is there anything that you do specifically for as far as like injury prevention for specific body parts like ankle, knee, hip, or is that kind of covered within that primal movement patterns?
Yeah, hopefully that's covered within the primal movement pattern. Hopefully it's covered within just sound training.
Yeah. Okay.
And the biggest injury prevention plan that I've found over the years is just being solid in our movements.
Yeah.
That does start with the primal movements.
Okay.
Like if we get a kid here and tomorrow we'll do it for the first time with our freshmen, and they'll be terrible. They'll be awful. They won't be able to do a forward roll.
Yeah.
They won't be able to do a duck walk and things like that. And so that hit me a few years ago. Like if a kid can't do a duck walk, why would I put a bar on their back?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to do that. Until they're proficient in these primal movements. Which is now what gets left out.
Yeah.
And not even in the training of kids, just in growing up.
Exactly.
Sport specialization is here to stay.
Yeah.
It is. There's no way around it.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a 12-year-old son right now, and
we're
just in the throes of it with where other kids and thousands of dollars their parents are spending on training and different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable to me. So when they get here, these basketball players have been playing travel basketball since they were 7, 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
Year round, up to 100 games a year.
It's crazy.
No real training of consequence.
Yeah.
If there was any, it's not going to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with that, we get them here, and they're not broken down because they're 18 years old.
Yeah.
But there's all these movements, that they need in their library.
Yeah.
To be able to be a robust, healthy athlete.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to steal from Ryan Horn again. Just being a good basketball player doesn't mean you're a robust, resilient, healthy athlete.
Exactly.
They can look great out here on their YouTube clips and their highlight videos, but man, they get here and it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. There's no way they're going to make it through a college basketball season like that.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And so kind of moving forward a little bit, right, we touched on the training and everything, but what does your kind of leadership as far as continuing education look like? And what is kind of your approach, or what is your even are you afforded a fair amount of GAs, or how does that kind of look in the structure there?
I've always, for the last 10 years, have worked really well with an assistant, whether it be a GA or a full-time assistant.
Okay.
Things like that. And just the way that my personality works, I need someone to balance that out sometimes. Someone tell me, no, Coach Roose, let's not do that. That's ridiculous. That's too much. Or, and so luckily, and one of my biggest points of pride is all the guys that have had work for me that have gone on to their own jobs and made it their own and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had some unbelievable help throughout the years. Just guys that are amazing in different realms, and that's what I look for is it's someone that's a little bit different than me.
Yeah.
Maybe one of my favorite assistants ever was too much like me.
Okay.
And so I do kind of look for a little bit different sometimes.
Okay.
I
So
want to balance it out.
yeah, with that, what is kind of the continuing education look like for that, for your assistants or your GAs?
Yeah, well, I would love to sit here and say I have some book with a curriculum and all this kind of stuff, but that's not how I do it.
Okay.
I'm a hands-on person, and you're
Yeah.
going to learn through experience.
Yeah.
You're going to learn through asking questions, and if you just like with my players, like you're going to earn what you get. And if you're good, then I'm going to give you more of a leash to do, what you can do.
Yeah.
I'm going to find your strengths, and we're going to use those.
Yeah.
We're going to figure out what those strengths are,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to take advantage of those while you're here, because I don't want an assistant or anything that's going to be here for 10 years or 5 years or something. I want guys that want to go on and move and start their own program and run their own show, and that's really what I'm after.
I like that.
So as far as that goes, like continuing education, it's going to be what you make of it. I'm not going to, are we going to sit down on a whiteboard and talk out programming? Yeah, because that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
And really, life revolves around fun. It's how can I have fun?
Yeah.
If I have fun doing something, then guess what? I'm going to do that. If I'm not having fun, I ain't going to do it.
Yeah.
If I don't like it, I'm probably not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
So that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
And so I want someone that I can spend a lot of hours with during the day, because that's
the job,
big
right?
part.
Yeah.
I want somebody that makes good coffee, because that's a big part of it. And from there, it's what you make of it.
Yeah.
And that's how I believe life is.
Yeah.
Like what you make of it. If you choose to have fun doing something, then it'll be fun, even if it's miserable.
Yeah.
I can find the fun in anything.
Yeah.
But I can also choose, if I wanted to look at it the opposite way, the pessimistic way, and things like that. And you're like, this sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this, but at the same time, I'm going to find a way to have fun doing it. And that's what I want to do with my kids.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do with my kids at home.
Yeah.
So have fun.
No, I like that, and a lot of internships that I've personally been in, that's the way I've learned most, right? It's on the fly, because you can talk about specific structures, and while some people might learn that way, it's best to learn in the way that you're gonna eventually be working in, right?
Yeah.
Like, why not? And so, kind of moving forward with that, right? So let's talk a little bit about some more like resumes, some application tips, right? Because this is an area that's kind of largely uncovered. Nobody really knows what a general format they should follow. They just kind of guess and hope that it works, right? So let's talk about what's a general format tip for resume and kind of cover letter look like, or what do you like to see?
Well, I think that's individualized on different people.
100%.
I'm gonna look and make sure that, and it all starts with an email, right?
Yeah.
Or a direct message on something. But especially an email is we line up a lot of interns and things like that. You sure as heck better get my name right. Don't copy and paste.
Yeah.
Because you're emailing out to 100 different coaches, which is fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But don't copy and paste and put the wrong name on there. That's automatic trash. I'm sorry, that's done.
Yeah.
But after that, just be real. That's the biggest thing. Just be real.
Yeah.
Be who you are. Don't try to be somebody else. When I first got into this field, I thought you had to be this dominating figure, and the room had to be in complete control all the time, and you got to be yelling and using 4-letter words all the time, because that's what I saw from strength coaches, and that's what you see. But the truth is, you got to figure out who you are, and that's got to come across, whether it be in an email or a cover letter or a resume. All of these things are ways, that you can get your personality across to people, and that's what drives this thing, you know. And like you said earlier, like it is about who you know.
Yeah.
It is. Am I going to trust, if somebody calls me up and says, hey, this guy's great, he'd be a really good fit for you. Yeah, I am. But at the same time, I like to go outside of that sometimes, and for the most part, we've hit on some really good ones. I've had a couple bad ones too.
Yeah.
One time I had a guy that I made standing inside a square of cones, while the guys were training, because the guys thought he was a little creepy. I'm sorry, the guys don't like you very much. You got to figure that out.
Have some self-awareness, And
he did. He's still in the field.
Wow.
And that's a credit to him.
Yeah.
And so, that's a way, and I love it when someone can take something and learn from it and get better. And maybe men's basketball wasn't the right fit for him, and whatever it may be. But this thing is personality driven.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And if you don't have it,
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry, like, we can sit here and talk X's and O's,
Yeah.
and I can't talk X's and O's like some people can, because
Yeah.
I'm just not smart enough to do that. But like, this thing, what keeps you in this field is
Yeah.
your coaching personality.
Yeah.
Like, can you get guys to do what you want them to do?
Mm-hmm.
Can you use inflection in your voice different times?
Yeah.
To change the dynamic of what's going on. Like, that's what this is.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
like
Mm-hmm.
I'm 5'8", and I
Yeah.
deal with guys who are 7 feet tall every day.
Yeah.
But that room's mine.
Exactly.
I guarantee you.
Yeah.
And it hit me a long time ago, actually, when I was at Marshall.
Uh-huh.
Still figuring out who I am as a coach and,
Yeah.
and what I'm going to be, and personality wise, and
Uh-huh.
principle based, and philosophy and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. And I was in the training room, which is right beside the weight room, and there
Uh-huh.
was one of my women's tennis players.
Mm-hmm.
I had women's tennis there, and they were awesome. They were,
Yeah.
they were successful, and they were fun, but they didn't love to work by
Yeah.
any means.
Yeah.
And I was in there just kind of hanging out with them one
Yeah.
time, and it came up like, why do you guys show up here
Yeah.
every day? Like, why do you guys come to the weight room? I mean, obviously, sometimes a year is because it's on the schedule and you're made to.
Yeah.
And this girl named Shannon, I'll never forget it. She said to me, she said, we're not scared of you, Coach. We just don't want to disappoint you.
Yeah.
And it hit me like, oh, okay, I don't have to run around here yelling and being the bad guy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, there's just something in the personality that says, these kids want to do what they want to do because they don't want to disappoint me. So
Yeah.
it's figuring that out.
Yeah.
And
That's
I think
big.
young coaches,
Uh-huh.
battle with that,
Yeah.
rightly so, in figuring out, their fit and where they fit and how they fit and what
Yeah.
to do and when to say things and things like that.
Yeah. No, I think that's really important. Okay. And so that's huge. And so with that, right, what is the resume? What do you like to see on resumes as far as, like, is there any, like, formats that you say that you think are ineffective or more effective than others, or
Yeah, ineffective is too much.
Okay.
Too much. I mean, don't put on there that you worked at Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yeah.
Don't put on there that you have a certification in Jedi balance training.
Yeah.
I have actually done that before.
No way. Okay.
Yeah, seriously. And like, just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Keep it relevant.
Uh-huh.
Because at the end of the day, like, all we're gonna do is we're gonna glance at that thing.
Yeah.
Make sure there's nothing crazy on it.
Yeah.
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 And go from there.
I
So
like-
the crazier it gets, the less likely it is to go to the top of the stack.
Yeah. That's important. That's really important, right? And so on that same token, at what point should internships be removed from the resume, right?
That's a good question. Because, in this field,
Yeah.
as many fields are,
Uh-huh.
it is about who you know in many ways. And
Yeah.
so, like, sometimes you're going to see something on there and think, man, well, I know a guy there that's
Yeah.
not listed on references. Let me call him up.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I think if it's relevant for the job that you're applying for,
Uh-huh.
stay on there.
Okay.
I really do.
Mhm.
If it's something in collegiate strength and conditioning,
Yeah.
and it's an internship in collegiate strength and conditioning,
Mhm.
and there's a chance that they know somebody there,
Yeah.
probably should stay on. Or you work with the sports that you're applying to work with.
Mm.
I think it probably should stay on there. For
I
a
like
while.
that. That's a good rule of thumb. Okay. And then this next one about references, right? So I know a lot of positions, they have like the list 3 references or so. But if that is not in the instructions, right, how many references should be listed and who should those references be? Like, should it be strength coaches, sport coaches, or what should that look like?
Yeah, just list 3. Just list 3. Just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of people, I mean, I know I and other guys I know, like, I'm probably going to check a reference or 2 on there.
Yeah.
I see something on there and there's a reference not listed, that's
Yeah.
the one I'm going to call.
Mm.
Like, if I see such and such university and I know a guy there, but
Yeah.
they didn't list them as a reference, which is fine sometimes,
Yeah.
I'm going to call them and see why,
Mm.
they weren't listed as a reference. And
Mhm.
that's going to give you a little more insight,
Yeah.
to what's going on there.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. And so moving into this very last segment here, right, just some things about you personally and kind of your development and what makes you you. What are some, if you have any, what are some quotes that you live by?
Oh, quotes. I'm not a quote guy.
Okay.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't believe in slapping them on shirts and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything unless you live it. So
Yeah.
just have fun.
There it is. I like it. Okay. Is there a thought or experience from your past that you've held on to that's kind of made a big difference in your life now?
I guess I was thinking about that this morning as I looked at these, the spark, for strength and conditioning, and probably happened in ninth grade as you enter high school, and it was in an athletics conditioning class, and I probably weighed 135 pounds, and in this class, were some older guys, big guys.
Yeah.
I just remember how excited that they were for me when I benched 135 the first time, as a ninth grader.
Yeah.
And there's guys probably benching 405 or something at the same time. And it wasn't just me, it was anybody in that group. And it was just that bond that crossed, racial lines and team lines and things like that.
Yeah.
That was fun to me. That was different. And so, I guess that's the one, I can still remember it. I can still remember hitting 135 to this day. And the guy that was spotting me, who probably weighed 250 pounds to my 135, and he was so excited that he's hit. He's beating me on the chest afterward. And that's the one.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. What is the best advice you've ever been given?
Best advice you've ever been given? I'm gonna go with John Sanderson on this one. And this is not him. I'm sure he's heard it from other people, but he really drilled this into us at Marshall. Is like, you have to make yourself, indispensable to whatever program that you're working at. So, whether you're an intern, a TA, an assistant, a head strength coach, whatever, like, you've got to make it where if you're not there one day, like, people notice. Like, if all you do is clean benches and make shakes, it would be noticeable. Like, my shake sucks today.
Yeah.
Because Coach Perez is not here.
Yeah.
It's got to be noticeable. And if you're gone and nobody notices, that's a problem.
That's good. Okay. Yeah. So in contrast to that, what's the worst advice that you ever been given?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think there is the thing as worst advice.
Okay.
I think that's one of the things. Like, you just gotta take it and roll with it. And, might have been good advice at a time to somebody else. And I don't know. I don't.
Fair enough. Okay. So then the last kind of question here: what projects are you currently working on, and how can people kind of reach out to you and follow your journey?
What projects am I currently working on? I'm just trying to get better as a human being.
Yeah. And
as a strength coach. And be a great dad and a great husband. Like that's the bottom line. I have a one-track mind.
Yeah.
I mean, have I read Ron McKeefer's book, CEOs? For sure I have. But man, I can't do multiple streams of income. I can't go start a business. I just can't. I can coach my kids, and I can be a dad.
Yeah.
And that's about it. I'm simple.
Yeah.
I'm from the country in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Like, that's who I am. And I'm not trying to be somebody else.
Yeah.
And so, for that reason, like, where you can reach me, like, I'm on Twitter. I am kind of on Instagram. I don't really know much about that.
Yeah.
On Twitter, it's at Coach Roose. That's the easiest way.
Okay.
That's the one form of social media that I really like.
Okay.
And now, don't hold me to that, because I do go dark on that a lot of times too, because I'm real big now on this technology thing and putting it down and just being present in real time. So at Coach Roose, or my email at Texas, I'm sorry, that's old school, but it's Roose at utexas.edu. That's simple, ROOSE. I'd love to be more involved in, putting myself out there on that story, but I don't know when I would do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to pick my phone up to do that. And I'm real big on not having my phone.
Yeah.
And so that's where I am on that. And that's probably, I'm going to live in a cabin one day.
Yeah.
Where I've got those phones from Walmart that has like 3 buttons on it.
Yeah.
And it's going to call my wife and kids. And that's it. Maybe 911 too. In case I'm all break hip or something.
Okay.
And that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
but I do like when people reach out. You
Yeah.
know, I'm really open to questions
Mhm.
and things like that. And yeah, that's that.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Coach, thank you so much for your time. This has been fantastic. It's always nice to connect with people that are trying to get better. So this has been really great for me, and I know the listeners are going to get a lot out of it. So thank you again, and hopefully we can connect again soon in the future.
Yes, sir, Coach. I appreciate you.